The founder of BlackBerry, the story of Mike Lazaridis, and the phone that changed the world in the 1990s. Before smartphones became an extension of the human hand, the world's communication still relied heavily on pagers, faxes, and basic cell phones that could do little more than make calls. Into this landscape stepped a young engineer with big ideas, Mike Lazaridis, the man who would become the founder of BlackBerry and reshape how the world connected. Early life and curiosity. Mike Lazaridis was born in 1961 in Istanbul, Turkey, to Greek parents. When he was 5, his family emigrated to Canada, settling in Windsor, Ontario. From an early age, Lazaridis displayed a fascination with technology. As a child, he would take apart radios and gadgets, driven by a desire to understand how things worked. That curiosity deepened when he read the entire set of Encyclopaedia Britannica cover to cover as a boy. His teachers noticed his meticulous attention to detail, and by high school he was already experimenting with electronics and science projects beyond his years. In 1979, Lazaridis enrolled in the University of Waterloo to study electrical engineering. But while still a student, he took a bold leap. Together with his childhood friend Douglas Fregin, he founded a small company in 1984 called Research in Motion RIM. Their headquarters, a modest office in Waterloo. Their goal, to push the boundaries of wireless technology. The birth of Research in Motion. At first, RIM was a tiny startup working on circuit boards, LED displays, and film projector technology. They caught a big break when they developed a film projector control system for General Motors. The money from that deal kept the company alive and gave Lazaridis the confidence to keep innovating. In 1989, RIM received a license to develop wireless data technology for BitX, a new wireless packet switched data network. This was revolutionary. It meant transmitting short bursts of data wirelessly, something no one had done effectively at scale. Lazaridis realized that the future wasn't in voice alone, it was in data. The idea of BlackBerry. By the mid-1990s, pagers were everywhere, but they were limited to one-way communication. Business executives craved a device that would let them send and receive messages instantly, without being tied to an office. Lazaridis saw this need and set out to solve it. In 1996, RIM launched the Inter@KDF pager, a bulky device that could send and receive emails. It was primitive by today's standards, but groundbreaking at the time. Executives could type messages on a tiny keyboard and send them over the air. The real breakthrough came in 1999 when RIM released the BlackBerry 850, the first device branded BlackBerry. The name was suggested by a marketing firm that thought the tiny, bumpy keys looked like the surface of the fruit. That full keyboard small but usable became the device's defining feature. Suddenly, busy executives didn't have to wait to get back to the office to read emails. They could communicate from taxis, airports, or boardrooms. It was as if the world had shrunk into their palms. The BlackBerry boom by the early 2000s, BlackBerry had become a phenomenon. Governments, Fortune 500 companies, lawyers and bankers adopted it rapidly. For the first time, they had secure, always-on email in their pockets. BlackBerry's encryption and security protocols became legendary, so much so that even world leaders like Barack Obama insisted on using one. The device earned nicknames like Crackberry because people became addicted to checking their messages constantly. The sight of professionals hunched over their phones, furiously typing with their thumbs, became a cultural image of the era. At its peak, BlackBerry controlled more than 50% of the smartphone market in the United States and had over 80 million active users worldwide. Leadership and vision. Mike Lazaridis wasn't just an engineer, he was a visionary. His leadership style focused on precision, innovation, and a relentless commitment to quality. He believed wireless communication would transform the world, and he was right. But Lazaridis also had a reputation for being cautious. While BlackBerry excelled at secure email and messaging, the company was slow to embrace broader app ecosystems, touchscreens, and multimedia features. This caution would later come at a cost. The fall of BlackBerry in 2007, everything changed. Apple introduced the iPhone, a sleek device with a touchscreen, a web browser, and a vast ecosystem of apps. Soon after, Google launched Android. Consumers no longer wanted just secure emails, videos, games, and social media at their fingertips. BlackBerry struggled to adapt. Its iconic keyboard, once its strength, suddenly seemed outdated. RIM tried to pivot with touchscreen models and even an app store, but the momentum was against them. By the early 2010s, BlackBerry's market share collapsed. In 2012, Lazaridis stepped down as co-CEO. The company eventually exited the phone-making business entirely, shifting to software and cybersecurity. Legacy of the founder. Despite the decline, Mike Lazaridis's contribution to technology cannot be overstated. He helped invent the first true smartphone years before Apple and Android took over. He proved that people wanted mobile access to data, not just voice calls. Without BlackBerry, the modern smartphone revolution might have looked very different. Lazaridis himself went on to become a major supporter of science and research. He donated hundreds of millions of dollars to the Perimeter Institute for Theoretical Physics and the Institute for Quantum Computing in Waterloo, helping Canada become a leader in advanced research. Conclusion. The story of the BlackBerry is one of brilliance, ambition, and caution. Mike Lazaridis, the founder, had the foresight to see that communication was the future, and he built a device that changed how the world worked, governed, and lived. Though BlackBerry phones no longer dominate pockets, their DNA lives on in every smartphone we use today. The idea that email messaging and the internet should be instantly available in your hand, that was Mike Lazaridis's vision, and for a time, he and his BlackBerry ruled the world.